Good afternoon, America, and welcome to Turning the Tide. This is Candace Salima, and we're going to spend the next couple of hours going over the issues of the day and taking a look at basically the state of America. It is, I don't know where to start. I'll tell you what, Barack Obama, as you all know, makes me absolutely crazy. So his Jobs Act was killed in the Senate yesterday. Well, portions of it anyway. And he couldn't get his American Jobs Act passed, so they trimmed it down, and that got filibustered by the Republicans, as they were supposed to do, and some of the Democrats did not vote for it, so they couldn't get the 60 votes they needed to break the filibuster. Now, so Obama goes out, and let's face facts, that man has been campaigning for the 2012 office since he won the 28 office. That's how he is. You know what? There is nothing of honor in Barack Obama. There is nothing of courage, of strength. It does not exist in this man. He is out there lying through his teeth as he goes through a 3-day bus tour through North Carolina and Virginia. Now, why is he going through those states? To promote his Job Act? Because those are the ones he needs to win in 2012. But let's take a look. Well, first, I am going to read to you what this useless excuse of a man said as he was, campaigning through those 2 states on taxpayer dimes. He said, for the second time in 2 weeks, every single Republican in the United States Senate has chosen to obstruct a bill that would create jobs and get our economy going again. That's unacceptable. We must do what's right for the country and pass the common sense proposals in the American Jobs Act, Obama said. Every Senate Republican voted to block a bill that would help middle-class families and keep hundreds of thousands of firefighters on the job, police officers on the streets, and teachers in the classroom when our kids need them most. Those Americans deserve an explanation as to why they don't deserve those jobs, and every American deserves an explanation as to why Republicans refuse to step up to the plate and do what's necessary to create jobs and grow the economy right now. Okay, that's what the man said. Now, what he doesn't say is that his American Jobs Act couldn't get through the Democrat-controlled Senate. That's what he didn't say. Number 2, what he didn't say is he's tacked on $1.5 trillion in taxes to the a hike on the American people. Now, he says that's only going to hit the wealthy people, but let's face facts. How did those people get wealthy? By doing smart business. And when your costs go up, your charges go up on your products. Yeah, it's going to be passed down to the middle class like it always is. And Barack Obama, knowing this, is still pushing it. He's a lying SOB, plain and simple. And I'm going to tell you, I am fed up with this man. Now, let's go back. Since this man came into office on January 20th of 2009, what did he do with TARP? What did the Obama administration and the 111th Congress do with TARP? I'll tell you. They bailed out banks. And if banks didn't want bailing out, they forced them to take it anyway. Because that's how Obama does business. Did he help the teachers and the firemen and the cops? Did he help Main Street America? Did he help the kids of America? Did he care about the kids of America? No, of course not. He didn't care about firemen. He didn't care about teachers. He didn't care about cops then. He didn't care about the children of America then. No, then he was too busy paying for why pigs stink, treadmills for shrimp in northern Alaska. He paid for, Solyndra. That was $500 billion of our money lost. Several other companies. There's $500 million going over to a company in Finland who's making electric cars for an American company. So that just went straight out of the company. 40 million Americans still out of work. But no, Obama's Department of Energy is sending money everywhere on ideological principles. And none of it is benefiting America. Plain and simple. So, TARP. He didn't care then. Well, then let's move on to Omnibus. That was the second bailout, in case you're wondering. Did he help the teachers then? No. Did he help the cops and the firemen then? No. Did he care about the classrooms then? No. He continued to fund money, shovel it, to pay back for his campaign. He continued to push and throw money into ideological principles that are diametrically opposed to that which made America great. That's Barack Obama. Oh, but let's don't forget QE1. That's quantitative easing 1. What is that? When the Fed prints money. And did that help anything? No, not at all. What did Obama do? Took over General Motors. Fired the CEO. The President of the United States of America violated every principle of the U.S. Constitution, completely blew Article 1, Section 8 out of the water, reached into private industry, and fired a CEO. Yeah, that's what he did. Took over the banking industry, took over the auto industry. Then he decided Americans didn't need used cars, so he started the Cash for Clunkers program. What'd that do? Caused the rise of prices on used cars, so people who didn't have a lot of money had to pay more if they wanted to be able to get to work. But did he stop there? Did he think about the cops, the teachers, the firemen, the kids then? No. No, he didn't. Because then he needed to get Obamacare pushed through. Obamacare is a cancer on America. Obamacare, regardless of what those lying people in Washington, D.C. what they say, simply put, allows for government-funded abortions. It's in the first 10 pages of the law. Allows for, this was in the 800s, starting on page 856, I believe. This was when people who were 55 who had fatal diseases went to the doctor. They were to be given pain pills, end-of-life counseling, and if they refused it, then the family was to receive end-of-life counseling and sent home to die. That, of course, would naturally set up what are called death panels. But Barack Obama and the Democrats vehemently denied that that was in the law, but it is. What else is in Obamacare? Oh, yes. Barack Obama's 1 million man civilian army. What does he need one of those for? That's what I want to know. Why? So Obamacare was less about providing health insurance for the underprivileged and more about Barack Obama's ideologies, which were rife through that. His anti-American sentiment was rife in Obamacare. And it is the law now. Of course, 26 states sued, and now it's headed to the Supreme Court, which I believe they're going to pick up with this next session, and we shall see. Do we have a U.S. Supreme Court who is willing to stand for, defend the U.S. Constitution and strike down Obamacare as wholly and completely unconstitutional? Are they going to play? Are they going to play ideologies and go away from plain truth? I don't know. We'll have to see. It's hard to say. Barack Obama, of course, attacked Congress, attacked the U.S. Supreme Court, attacked the American people, attacked conservatives, attacked liberals, attacked the Black Caucus. And did things get better in America? No, not at all. Not at all. He went on to say, if you thought Republicans in Congress couldn't possibly vote against the interests of teachers and cops, they proved you wrong tonight. But you know what? The interest of teachers and cops, that's new for Barack Obama. He's only now interested because he's got to do something to get elected, because he has gone down as the worst president in the history of the United States of America. And that's saying something, because Jimmy Carter was pretty bad. So what else does he say? He says the Senate has voted to block legislation that would have put $35 billion toward retaining teachers and first responders and hiring more. Excuse me. Let me make a point here. Teachers aren't paid by the federal government, they're paid by the state. First responders, firemen, cops, paid by cities and states. They're not paid by the federal government. What is he doing? I can promise you this, that if he got this money, not a dime of it would find its way to the teachers and the first responders. Because that's the way Barack Obama does these things. That is what the man does. So he goes on to say that more votes like these to come over the next weeks. Tell Senate Republicans why you can't wait for action on jobs. But you know what? Let me remind you, Republicans are not in the majority in the U.S. Senate. The Democrats are. So why is he targeting the Republicans? Now, the article on Fox News goes on to say the 50-50 vote came in relation to a motion to simply take up the bill and fell well short of the 60 needed to break a filibuster. Democrats Ben Nelson of Nebraska, Mark Pryor of Arkansas, and Independent Joe Lieberman of Connecticut broke with Barack Obama on the vote. Two Democrats who voted with the president, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia and John Tester of Montana, however, said they couldn't support the underlying Obama plan unless it's changed. But who does he blame? The Republicans. Who does he tell lies about? The Republicans. That's what it is. And then he goes on to say, actually, let me just say this. This is a statement that came out of the White House. In the coming year, many school districts will have to make another round of difficult decisions that will cost jobs and put the education of the nation's children at risk. Yeah. So he goes on and on and on, blaming Republicans, blaming conservatives, blaming Americans, because his American Jobs Bill is the savior of the American economy, the savior of American teachers and firemen and cops, and the savior of the American children. What it is a piece of garbage. Plain and simple. More crap coming out of the Obama White House. And no matter how many times he lies, no matter how many speeches he gives, no matter how many bus stops he makes, no matter how many campaign promises he makes, let's look to history. Oh, I'm not talking way back. I'm talking in the last 3 years. 1,000 days of an Obama administration has brought America to her knees. Economically, constitutionally, entrepreneurially. In every way, Obama has set out to destroy America. Now, bad luck for him, the American people said no. And so it's been a battle for him. It's been a fight. And yet there are those people who have the cradle to grave mentality, who really believe and want the government to take care of them from the moment they're born until the day they die. They want nothing more, nothing less. They have no motivation. They have no self-responsibility. They have no self-respect. They only want what Obama can give them. So there is no mansion on a hill in their future, because they will not strive for it. They will not work day and night for it. They will not sweat blood and tears for it. They want only what can be given to them. And that's what Barack Obama has produced. All by himself. Because every policy this man puts forth further erodes the greatness of the United States of America. If he wants to put cops and teachers and firemen back to work, stop his energy policies. Stop putting people out of work. 600,000 jobs lost since Barack Obama took office. 600,000. Unemployment staying between 9 and 10% when it's supposed to be between 2 and 5. Businesses on Main Street closing down left and right. Businesses that are centuries old, gone. Businesses that were mom and pops, that were handed down from family to family, gone. Huge corporations struggling. banks playing fast and loose with the American taxpayers' money, acting as investors, as hedge fund companies, instead of the banks that they're supposed to be. Now, let's take a look why that happened. No, it wasn't because of the banks. It was because Bill Clinton repealed Glass-Steagall, which, with the law, restricted banks from acting as investment pools. They could only be banks. So let's take a look at who is responsible for what's going on. Since Barack Obama took office, he's done nothing that has helped to bring back America. He has done nothing to heal America. He has made race so divisive, so poisonous, that people who never looked at race before are looking at it now. We are more divided than we have ever been. And it is because of Barack Obama. Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi, and Barack Obama, I like to call them the unholy triumvirate. During their unchecked 2 years, caused so much damage to America, they surpassed all damage done in the previous years by both parties. The Republicans in the last election, November of 2010, were sent back to Washington, D.C. with a mandate. You will stop spending wildly. You will bring America back from the brink. You will do what you have been sent to do, or we will replace you. That's the mandate we sent back. So tell me, have they been doing that job? Yes, they have. Have they done it as well as I would like? No, they haven't. We have $15 trillion in debt. $4 trillion of it belongs to Barack Obama. That's what the Hope of America did. That's what the Change in Hope guru did for America. He spent $4 trillion more dollars. And he's still got a year to go. And he wants to spend another $500 billion in the American Jobs Act. However, he is not going to open up American resources to exploration, to drilling. He is not going to reduce regulation on business so that business can flourish once again. He is not going to let up his grip on the banking industry. Because if he really wanted the banks to do what they were supposed to do, Glass-Steagall would be reenacted. Instead, the President of the United States of America, Barack Hussein Obama, has conducted himself with no dignity, no strength, no integrity, no courage. He has single-handedly brought the office of the United States President under ridicule, disdain, and outright anger. As a candidate, Barack Obama promised to get America out of Iraq and Afghanistan. As president, we stayed in Iraq. We increased forces in Afghanistan. We invaded Libya. The one good thing he did too was not stop the killing of Osama bin Laden. And what did he do yesterday when Muammar Gaddafi was announced dead, murdered by the Libyan rebels? As they danced around his body, kicked it, and fired weapons into the air, he took credit. Barack Obama took credit for the actions of Libyan rebels. Oh, and when we went into Libya, what did Obama do? Didn't even bother to talk to Congress. Went to the United Nations. Congress doesn't matter to Barack Obama. He has no respect for Congress. He wants to set himself up with America as his fiefdom. Oh, hey, shoot, forget fiefdom. He wants a kingdom. I look at the so-called Arab Spring that Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton have fostered. One nation after another fell. Some of the leaders imprisoned and being tried, others murdered. And what is coming in place? Is it democracy? No. It's Sharia law-driven governments, worse than what they had before. Iran's cancer is spreading throughout the Middle East, and Barack Obama is celebrating it. Let's move over to Occupy Wall Street. Those protesters who are nothing like the Tea Party, nothing in any way, shape, or form like the Tea Party, are screaming and yelling at Wall Street as if Wall Street were a person. They're screaming and yelling at the banks. They're screaming and yelling at the wealthy. They want their student loans forgiven because they don't feel like they should have to pay for the education they received. They want money taken from the wealthiest of our nation and from the biggest corporations and redistributed to them. Now, if all the education those Wall Street protesters had received had done any good, they would know that the problem lies in Washington, D.C., not on Wall Street, not the homes of the wealthy, and not at the buildings of America's corporations. Look to Congress. Look to the White House. That is where the problem is. Why don't you get your faces out of the crap textbooks that they gave you in those colleges and look to reality? Look to the truth. Understand how the Republic works and understand it is the U.S. Congress and the White House overstepping every portion of Article 1, Section 8 and reaching out into the powers of the states, taking away from the states, taking away from the American people, and taking away from you, from your children and your grandchildren. Overregulation of business has done that. The cutting out of energy, exploration, drilling, and using of America's resources. We are the most source-rich nation, energy source-rich nation in the world, and Barack Obama won't let us touch it. This is the man blaming Republicans, blaming conservatives. Oh, what else has Barack Obama done with the Gulf Oil, British Petroleum accident? Could have been taken care of within a couple of days. Barack Obama blocked it. Help was offered from all over the nation. In Holland, in the Netherlands, they had technology that could come and eat up all the oil. Problem solved. But did Barack Obama allow that? No. Not at all. He allowed it to spill into the Gulf until the entire Gulf was poisoned. The beaches were filthy, and the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of Gulf Coast citizens were destroyed. That's what Barack Obama did. But he blames the Republicans and the conservatives. He blames the American people who have the temerity to stand up and say, you know what? I have studied this situation out for myself. I have read the books. I have read the words of the founding fathers. I have actually read the U.S. Constitution. I actually know what it says. I know how the powers are divided. And you, sir, have violated every tenet of the U.S. Constitution. You, sir, have usurped the powers of the state. You, sir, have attacked the American people. And you, sir, have attacked the U.S. Constitution. You took an oath to defend the U.S. Constitution against enemies foreign and domestic. You have violated that oath at every turn. You are not worthy of the Oval Office. You stand here and you lie to the American people day in and day out. You stand here looking around at the ruins of what was once a great nation with a spark of glee in your eye, figuratively rubbing your hands together and saying, "Oh, it's all the Republicans' fault." Well, you know what? I'm calling you on your garbage, sir. That is not true. This is your fault. This is the fault of the 111th Congress. It is the fault of the Democrats still in Congress. It is the fault of the moderate Republicans still in Congress. And I make you this promise, Barack Obama. The American people are not going to let you continue this farce that you call an Obama administration. We have and we will stand. And we are finding candidates that know what the U.S. Constitution says, who understand that we, the people, are the ones that comprise America, not you in Washington, D.C. You are elected. You are hired by us, not by anyone else. And you will answer to the American people. You will not win another term. We will find a candidate, and we will throw our all behind that candidate. And we will make sure Barack Obama does not serve a day in the White House past January 20th of 2013. And that's what it's all about, sir. It is not about Republicans. It is not about teachers. It is not about firemen. And it's not about cops. And it's not about the children of America. It's about you and you alone. You can't take credit for the good, and you must take credit for the bad, because that's all we've had since you came into office. Your Keynesian economics have done so much damage to America, and you refuse to see that it will not work, that it never works, and it never will work. You refuse to understand that the republic form of government set up by the founding fathers is the only form of government capable of withstanding the ravages of time. The communists won't win. The liberals won't win. The progressives won't win. We're taking America back, and it's as simple as that. So we are going to take a quick break, and we will be back.